Look at that. I actually have to change that logo because the new Blues logo is out now and whatnot. It's a Heritage Classic logo. Close enough.
Yeah.
It's not the newest logo for the Blues. Welcome, everybody, to today's episode of the Blues Note Show. My name is Brandon. I got Brandon with me as well. We're going to talk about some of the things that have happened in the Blues offseason so far. Quite a bit to talk about, so at least I think. From roster moves to the trade rumors with Jordan Kyrou to John Kelly not being the broadcast team this year. It's going to be interesting to see how that works out, too. Brandon, how you doing today?
Doing pretty well. How about yourself, Brandon?
Not too bad. I was hoping I was going to get some yard work done before it rains, but I don't think that's going to happen because it looks like it's going to be here sooner than the weather app at 1 o'clock says it's going to be. It's knocking on the doorstep already. I can see it outside.
Yeah.
So it's what it is, I guess.
I'm going to be waiting to do mine until after all the rain comes through in the evening. So we'll be good in that regard.
Yeah. I just have to weed eat a little bit. I didn't get to do it the other day. So, it's what it is. Brandon, how you feel about the Blues off-season moves since the last episode of the Blues Note Show?
I mean, a couple of them I'm happy about seeing, and one more in particular. I know a lot of Blues fans are probably not happy about seeing go, but I mean, it's a trade of the trade. It's how these things kind of work with hockey trades, and Doug even kind of talked about it a little bit too with the Zachary Bolduc and the Mailloux trade that happened with Montreal, and that. I mean, you're going to see those types of moves. Yeah, you're losing an offensive guy that likes to put his body in physically into the play. But, I mean, you're also getting a defenseman who apparently has an insane amount of upside. He's a big dude. I think they said he's like 6'3", 200 something pounds. I think like 210, 245, something.
Right. But is it that? I thought it was like 215, 220.
It might have been. I don't remember the number off the top of my head, but I mean, this is a kid that they're projecting to being like an Evan Bouchard or something. So I mean, if that's the case and he has that potential upside, I mean, granted, you probably want to see it right off the bat. Yeah. But I mean, this is a kid that you could have in a top line role with Parayko at some point if you're not going to pursue something further with Cam Fowler, Justin Falk. Obviously, you're going to ride the Philip Broberg train, but that's something that you have the depth now in your immediate roster that you can just see how they develop with the organization and just build them to what your style of play is.
Yeah, I mean, that too, that has a lot to do with it. Is just finding the guy that, you kind of need in that spot. You don't have a lot of right-handed defensemen in the organization as it is. There's 4 now, maybe 5 with the addition of Mailloux. It in the roster now, but you're looking at a position where Bolduc was playing it's already kind of jam-packed, and you talk about Cardinals and their log jams and whatnot, and positional log jams and whatnot, and you're kind of starting to run into that case because you have so much potential with guys like Dvorsky and even Justin Carbonneau now.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy had a heck of a development camp from the sounds of it.
Oh, yeah.
Cool, so.
Yeah, there was a lot of days. I went to one of the days of development camp, and that was the one day where he had a pretty good hit on one of the other players on the other team, and then he just took the puck down and dangled around everybody and put it into the back of the net. And just seeing a lot of the style of play and everything and the speed of Carbonneau was so good to see.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's going to be really neat to see how he develops, especially with, I think I saw that he was opting to go back to play with his college team or minor league team for this season. So that's, I mean, good for him to take that step and not, and instead of, I mean, you could have gone through spring training and everything with the team, but to go through and just say, hey, you know, my development isn't to that standard yet. I want to keep developing myself.
Yeah.
To me, that seems like a good move on his part.
Yeah, I think it'll be better off. I mean, you don't want to necessarily 18-year-old, 19-year-old playing in the NHL unless they're like a Connor McDavid type of guy. But I think the Blues got a good draft pick with Carbonneau and whatnot, and it sucks to see a guy like Bolduc kind of get pushed out because of a positional logjam at the forward spot with guys that have such high potential already. So it's just what it is. It's at this point.
Yeah, I would totally agree. And I mean, even in that regard too, with having a little bit of people that we have kind of just in there standing, waiting for something to happen is Dalibor Dvorsky as well. I mean, and they even said that he's potentially coming into camp. Yeah. Not so much looking at a center position with all the depth that we have accrued, which we're going to talk about here in a little bit.
Right.
I mean, to see them potentially having him come to camp and looking at a starting as a wing position, I mean, that's something too. It's like, well, if you're going to have that, then you got a lot of depth out on the left and right side that you're going to be kind of log jammed a little bit. I mean, that's the reason why I think you had to move on from a winger or two. And I mean, it's sad to see that Zachary Bolduc was the guy that goes, but because I think you still had a lot of upside to see from Zachary Bolduc, especially after only seeing him get 19 goals last season. And that was on the later half of the season, even to mind you. That was after Jim Montgomery came into the fold with this team. Right. So that just tells you, if like you have a whole training camp with Jim Montgomery, you have a whole season with Jim Montgomery, what's to say that this kid isn't going to be scoring 20 plus, if not 30 plus goals this season under the same leadership?
Right. I mean, fortunately, that's just a risk that you had to.
Right.
It's an asset you had to give up because you were short or falling short in an area that you needed to improve in.
Exactly.
So again, it's what it is. It's not like they went out and traded Bolduc and then didn't do anything after that. I mean, you look at some of the roster, not some of the free agent signings they did. And the first one we'll talk about here is Suter. Spent the last 2 years in Vancouver. It was 2 years in Detroit before that, and then started out in Chicago. He's 29, played 81 games last year in Vancouver, 25 goals, 21 assists, and 46 points on the season. Had a 2-year, $4.12? Yeah, $4.125 million annual average value for Suter. So it's gonna help out the center position there. Along with the signing of Bjugstad, which I was surprised that they went back to back, free agent signings of both center positions. But I'd imagine, I don't know. I don't know what's now you have five centers.
Yeah,
with Thomas, Shin, Suter, Bjugstad, and I believe Sundqvist.
Yes. So one thing I do feel with that signing, and you may disagree with me, but the Suter from signing? What I see with the Nick Bjugstad signing is that something that you have with he's kind of a little bit on the same realm of like what you had with Radek Faksa.
Yeah.
And he granted being with the Mammoths and everything last year, the last couple of years with them being the Coyotes prior to that, you may not have had as much of the right people around him, and he didn't really have that much of a like scoring points wise.
Yeah.
But you have a guy that can almost kind of like the same style of play. So if you put him on a role, like the fourth line with Toropchenko, and I think they are either going to put Nathan Walker or Tetsier or Joseph. One of those three, I think they're going to cycle to figure out the best rhythm, I think. But I think you're going to ultimately end up back with Walker probably.
Yeah,
but
they could put Sundqvist at a wing too.
Yeah, and doing something like that, I think you're just looking for that little bit more of consistency on that in that roster spot. And I think Bjugstad was the reason why they went out and got him for that role instead of trying to re-sign Radek Faksa, who eventually ended up going to back to Dallas shortly after they made the Bjugstad signing.
Yeah, for quite a bit too. It was like $4 or like $5 million or $6 million.
Yeah,
which is more than what I think the Blues were wanting to give give Fatska or Vaska. So I mean, I don't mind it. I think the Suter signing though is the bigger one of the two.
Oh, of course. And the discount that you got him at too. Yeah. I mean, you're looking at a guy that you got for $4.125 million for this year and next year, rather than going out and potentially acquiring a guy like Michael Granlund, who we talked about a lot in the previous episode. But I mean, once you see who he went to, I think it was Anaheim, and signing for, I think 3 years, $7 million per year.
Per year.
I mean, that would have been a little bit more of a kind of a pill to swallow. But I think with the signing that you have with Pius Suter, that's somebody that is kind of like what we've had with Donovan or even what was his name? But either way, he's more of a utility knife kind of guy. You can put him in the spots where you may have guys struggling. So if like you originally started him on the third line, just out of context, I don't know where they're going to put him. If you have him starting on the third line, say Braden Shen doesn't really start all that great on the second line with Kyrou and Holloway, you can switch these guys around. Right. And he may be able to fit in pretty well with these two on the second line. And you may see the production come back from Suter. You may see the production with Braden Shen come with being on a little bit of a lesser role with the third line. And that's something that you could potentially see happen early on, if not maybe immediately, depending on how training camp goes.
Yeah. I think they'll be all right. I think this relieves a little bit of kind of pressure off of Shin in some way too. Just in ways that he doesn't feel like he has to carry that center position. I know you have Robert Thomas there, who's the greatest third greatest center in the NHL right now. And whatnot. But I think it'll help relieve some of that pressure that Shin feels of being, having to be a top center still at his age, which will be nice. I think it'll be a good thing. I think I think both of the signings that the Blues had and the addition of Mailloux will be it's going to be more positive than negative, I think.
Oh, of course. And I think you have more of a well-rounded lineup going into this year than what you've had in any of the previous years. I mean, you had a good lineup, a decent lineup, I guess you could say, going into last year, and they really developed into what they were at the end of the season. But to round it off with just a very well-rounded center group now, with having Robert Thomas up at the top, Braden Shen, Pius Suter, and then Nick Bjugstad. This is going to be you have more center depth now than what you've had in probably many years. Because, you haven't had, except for maybe the top two lines, that really good center depth. And now you have 4 lines of guys that it's like, all right, I feel like we have a little bit more reliability now. And I feel like it's going to be a lot better for this team going into this season.
Yeah. And so, with all that happening, all the few signings that they did make, they ended up putting Nick Leddy on waivers, which cleared up some cap space since he was claimed by the San Jose Sharks. Clears up about $4 million in cap space too. We'll get to the salary cap situation here towards the end of the show today, and whatnot. But let's talk about a little bit more of hitting the 15-minute mark here. Let's talk about a little bit of the trade rumors that kind of bounce around. I know you guys talked about it a little bit in the last episode with Jordan Kyrou. July 1st came and gone pretty quickly. His no trade clause comes into effect. There's still reports and rumors and talk that the Blues could potentially move Jordan Kyrou. I'm one that says don't do it unless you're going to get the right stuff back for him. I don't think they should do it. I think you're giving up a guy who is a key piece to your offense right now. They would be giving up a key piece of their offense right now for you don't know what you'd get back. Yeah. Everything that they've gotten, through Montreal, through the Islanders, through reported rejected trade offer for Buffalo for how do you say his last name? JJ Peterka? Yeah. I don't know. I just don't think it would have been a smart move.
Yeah, I mean, to look at a guy like Peterka or even Bo Byram, who they eventually went to arbitration. So I mean, you can still look at a trade with Bo Byram, but that's something that as of now, since July 1st has come and gone, like you said, it's going to be all in Jordan Kyrou's hands. Yeah. If he doesn't want to go to that spot, then he has the ability now to say yes or no. Yeah. But to the point that you brought up earlier, I was all for a Jordan Kyrou move, like probably towards the end of the season, if not in through this starting of this offseason.
Yeah.
But seeing like what you were potentially looking at from either the Islanders, from Montreal, to a few of the other teams that have kind of been listed as potential trade spots for Jordan Kyrou. I mean, you're looking at guys that are like still kind of developing, or if not solid NHL players that don't really have some of the production. I mean, I think the Montreal one, I think they were looking at, I think it was Matheson, and I can't remember what the defender's name that was tossed into that group was, but I was looking at the stats of all of them. I mean, you might see them that total up to what a Kyrou production type player has, but going after a guy like Matheson, who is a center at the time, or who is a center, you're looking at you're still looking at a third, fourth line type player. Right. But that's still you're not filling that production of what Kyrou can do on his own, where he was getting 30-something goals this past year and the last previous years. And
3 years of 30 goals, right? 3 or 4 years. Yeah.
And so you're not getting that production back by signing a guy like Matheson for a trade and a defender that's still developing.
Right.
Like that, you're not getting that out of a Kyrou-esque player. And I mean, even though that's something that I just seeing a lot of the trade rumors, or seeing a lot of the stuff that people have been putting out, from like Elliot Friedman to Saravalli, I think is what his name was. I was just like, I don't like the look of these trade offers or trade rumors that are coming out, and I think they could do a hell of a lot better with just keeping Kyrou, developing him with the line that he's on, and getting him to a point to where he is a consistent 30-40 goal scorer, and he's good on both offense and defense. I mean, we saw that towards the end of the season where he was getting back on the rush and getting back into defensive role. And that's something that we haven't seen him really do over the last few years when we had different coaching.
Yeah. I mean, to me, I think it was more of, we don't have any salary cap, which again we'll talk about here in a little bit, but we don't have any salary cap to go after a top 4 defenseman in like a Evan Bouchard or whose contract is absolutely, in my opinion, I think ridiculous. $10 million a year. That's crazy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I know the salary cap's going up, but wow, that's a lot. And the guy that they were talking about getting from the Islanders,
Noah Dobson.
Yeah, like $12 million a year, $11 million a year. No, thank you.
Who wasn't really, in my regard, you're playing on a team like the Islanders, but still, I don't know if he was really still having the point production of somebody of like what Kyrou has gotten over the past few years.
Yeah, it's just some of the things, and when they traded him to Montreal, and it's like signed a $11 million, was it 7 years, something like that, some crazy amount of money and stuff, and it's like, well, I'm glad we missed that one. Like, I just don't think that would have been, if the salary cap was your issue and why you were looking to move Jordan Kyrou is because of the salary cap, that wasn't going to help you.
No.
At all.
No, not at all. And I think that's the reason why they didn't pursue that, is because of they were looking at what the salary cap was kind of going to be looking like. I mean, and now for the Blues, it's going to be looking a hell of a lot better. You're going to have a lot of room to kind of work with if you do other things. But back in regard with this, it's something that, and we're still hearing talks about trade rumors and stuff, but I think you're going to, all in all, I think you're going to end up with Jordan Kyrou on the roster starting this season. And I'm hoping for that outcome because I feel like he would be better suited with this team.
It would not surprise me at all if he finishes his contract out.
Probably, maybe towards the end of it. Maybe like
1 year left or something.
Yeah, like they're potentially seeing or having potentially seen more with Justin Falk, because I think they were talking about potentially keeping him this year to have that defensive depth, so that way he could work with Mailloux and the other younger defensemen and kind of help them out with Cam Fowler and Colton Parayko, and just being like that veteran presence more or less on a lineup, since you don't have Ryan Suter coming this year.
I was going to ask. I haven't heard anything on him. He's not.
I haven't seen anything on a signing or anything. I think he's end up retiring. I think from what I heard earlier in the year was that if he didn't end up getting signed back by the Blues or signed by somebody else, I think he was going to end up retiring.
Yeah, because I know he wanted to stay in St. Louis. At the end of the season, he's like, I would much rather just stay here.
Yeah.
Than go have to go somewhere else again. I thought he had to me, that's the way he played last year is worthy of here's a 1 year, $1 million contract just to help, boost your defensive depth. But I know they're really high on some of their younger defensive guys. Trying to think of what's the one kid's name?
You think of Matt Kessel?
Yes. I know they're really high on Kessel, and I know he was brought up into trade rumors with Buffalo for a little bit there too. So, but I don't know. We'll see what happens. So, I'm kind of glad they didn't trade.
So one thing about Buffalo too that I wanted to talk about, what with a lot of the trade stuff going on too with trade rumors, we did hear a little bit about with the Bo Byram situation, and some of the reports coming out with that was, I think what you were just talking about with Matt Kessel and Jake Neighbors.
Yes.
And what if, and obviously with them going to team elected arbitration, you're probably not going to see anything now.
When you can't.
But what was that something that you would have potentially gone after, or do you think you'd be giving up too much production from Jake Neighbors to go after Bo Byram?
I wouldn't have gave up Jake Neighbors. I wouldn't have accepted that trade. I know Byram's like one of the, higher end guys and whatnot, but I don't think I would have gave up on Jake Neighbors.
Yeah.
I just think that's you already traded Bolduc, and I know he wasn't 20 goal scorer and whatnot, but you can't trade. He has as high of a ceiling as I think anybody. Like if Snuggerud's 1, Neighbors is 2.
Oh, I would agree. And especially with his point production over the last 2 years,
can't get rid of him.
I don't think you can give up a guy like Jake Neighbors.
No, he's a fan favorite already too. And I don't want to say you can't get rid of fan favorites because it happens all the time. But you can't get rid of Jake Neighbors.
Mm-hmm.
You can't lose Bolduc and Neighbors in the same season.
No, especially for a guy that's gonna, especially with the players you already have in your top line for the defensive core, to put him into a second line role where I think he's looking for top line minutes.
Yeah,
you're going to be putting him into a Justin Falk spot, which then you're going to be pushing Justin Falk down to the third line spot.
Right.
And in that regard, what are you going to do with Mailloux now? Because I don't know if he would be good over on the left side. And even then, I don't know who you're going to be
got him because
on the left side with that. Because, I mean, you already have.
But you traded for Mailloux because he's a right-handed defenseman.
Yeah.
Like, that's the reason you made that trade for Bolduc for him.
Right.
Is because you were short on right-handed defensemen in your organization. So why not have him play on the right side?
Exactly. So, and I mean, to go after that kind of a trade, which I get a lot of people in St. Louis were all for that trade and everything. And I would love, don't get me wrong, I would love to have a player like Bowen Byram on the St. Louis Blues.
Yeah.
I just don't know if they would be at the right cost right now with still having a Justin Falk contract in the midst and having as some of the contracts that you have right now for your defense. I don't know if that's a contract that I would want to go after, especially with him going to team elected arbitration now. Mm-hmm. He's got to sign a 1 or 2 year contract.
Yep.
So, I mean, if you wait the 1 or 2 years that he has assigned for Buffalo, take him up to UFA status, then potentially you can look at maybe going after Bo Byram once your contract with Justin Falk is up. Some of the other contracts that you have on the defense are up, and you can maybe look at it and go, maybe.
Yeah, I would agree. So that's the only way I think I would have made that. If you would have thrown Justin Falk, I know Buffalo would have been like, no, not doing that.
Right, because they're already defense heavy team.
Right.
So that would just be like, why would that be something that they would go after? In my opinion,
they wanted a top scoring forward, and Kyrou and Neighbors were the only two that they wanted.
Mm-hmm.
In the Blues. You could not get rid of Neighbors, and I don't think getting rid of Kyrou would have been the smartest decision for your organization as a whole. I don't think that's a good idea.
No,
if you're trying to improve off of what you did last season, which was I wouldn't say a complete shock, but a little shock to a lot of
not something that a lot of the NHL is looking to see the Blues do.
No. Even for like when we talked at the beginning of the season last year, like I don't know how this season's going to go. And it's like, okay, like I think it could be a wild card team. But then as the season started and progressed and whatnot, and then they fired Drew Bannister, brought in Jim Montgomery. It's like, like even the first month of Jim Montgomery's tenure after he took over was like, this team isn't any better.
Well, yeah. And a lot of that too, I felt like was that in Jim, I think even kind of touched on a little bit towards the end of the season. He didn't really have a whole lot of time to really go over the issues and everything that the team was having, and he just kind of took it and ran with it for from what he had.
Yeah.
And so that was why you saw a little bit of change, like at the beginning of his tenure in the Blues organization. But whenever you had a Four Nations gap, like we did, and he was able to go through everything and see where they were lacking at, which one of the things that they were lacking and they still lacked at towards the end of the season, which they're going to really have to correct, was the last minute for like 6-on-5, 6-on-4, those types of things. But those are the types of things that you're going to have to work on. But the other things that they were having issues on that were simpler fixes to do, I would say, you had that type of time frame for a Jim Montgomery-esque coach to really iron through, and you saw the potential of that team come through fully. I felt like after the Four Nations break is what you were like. A lot of us were like, whoa, where does this team come from?
Yeah. And you sneak into, you get into the playoffs, and, you take the best team in the NHL to 7 games in overtime. And yeah, I don't know. It still hurts.
Yeah. And I still think this team is going to come out with a chip on their shoulder. If they don't, then that's going to be a shell shock to me.
Yes.
Because that's something that you don't let go very quickly. That's something that's going to be burned in for a long time.
Yeah. Yeah. But no, I think they'll be okay. I think the trade rumors are going to settle down with the season getting closer. And you can't offer Byram an offer sheet now, like they had talked about, like, oh, maybe they'll pull a, thing like that again, and this and that, and just not have any draft picks for the next couple of seasons, because they only have 3 this year.
One free agent signing that we didn't even talk about, which I'm surprised that we didn't talk about, was Joe Hofer.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Well, I mean, yeah, I didn't even forget about it, but yeah, it just wasn't in my notes.
Yeah, I mean, him re-signing to what was a 3.4.
Yeah,
I think it was a 3.4. Yeah, 3.4 2-year contract, which I almost thought was going to be a given. I didn't think he was going to go to offer sheets or anything else, because Doug was pretty much saying the same thing as like what the GM for Buffalo was saying about Bo Byram. But whenever you brought up the whole offer sheet thing, I was like, oh crap, this is something that we haven't even talked about yet, and we've talked about free agent signings already. But I mean, no, to iron out your goalie tandem for the next 2 years now.
Yeah,
with Jordan Bennington and Joel Hofer, especially after Four Nations break, seeing those two play the way that they did is going to be probably one of the best goalie tandems in the NHL coming out of starting this season.
Yeah, you just drive yourself into a nice little, back-to-back thing. Obviously, Jordan, Jordan's your number one. Still, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about that going into this coming season. But you also put yourself in a little bit of a predicament in about 3 years when you have to go, well, do we sign Bennington?
We're going to be putting ourselves into a Boston Bruins situation where you don't know if you reassign Elias Olmark or keep going with Jeremy Swayman, and we saw the end result of that and how that ended out. But
not good for either side, really.
Yeah, I mean, because I've seen a lot of people say they want to see Jordan Bennington like end out his career in St. Louis.
It's not going to happen.
Other people saying that they want to see Bennington go and see Hofer be put into that spot, which I think Hofer does want to be into that spot and being on the top spot, which you could almost argue that he isn't quite ready, I feel like, to be in that spot.
He's not an everyday goaltender yet.
Yeah, and I think that was one thing that the Blues did wrong with Jake Allen. I think they tried to put him into that spot a little too early, but then they had Bennington come in and kind of fill that role. And then to see Allen kind of move on and see what he's kind of done, he hasn't really been much of an NHL 1A goalie since he's kind of left the Blues.
what did he did? He had a pretty decent season.
Because I think he was with Montreal and then went to New Jersey, and he's in New Jersey currently.
Yeah, that's right. He had a pretty decent season. Didn't they go to the Stanley Cup Finals a year after he left St. Louis? Like during the bubble year?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's what I thought, because they played Tampa Bay. Weird Eastern Conference matchup in the Stanley Cup Final that year. I don't know. I just hope they don't kind of put themselves in a situation where, they're it's just going to be tough to, let go of a guy that, has done so much and, is really close to. Does Bennington have the most wins in the organization? He's got to be pretty close to it.
Oh, yeah, he does.
Yeah.
Most winningest. Goaltender.
Lose a guy, let a guy like that go, and whatnot. But you don't see goaltenders stick around with teams anymore either for years and years.
No,
and years.
Because they want the money.
Yeah, well, not even just that, but like the first.
And they want to start, which I don't blame any of them for that reason. The
first signs of them starting to falter in their skill level, they're like, see ya. We're gonna bring up the new young blood, and get them going. I don't know. We'll see. We'll even talk about that in the cap situation, because there will be caps. I mean, that's part of the salary cap stuff.
Yeah.
Which I know you have a whole list of signings and stuff. I want to talk about one thing before we get to that point. How do you feel about the new broadcast changes with John Kelly being kind of pushed out in a way, in a nice way?
Mm-hmm.
Or the new FanDuel simulcast with audio, or with TV and radio. So Chris Kerber and Joey Vitale will take over those roles going into next season.
So this was something that I saw it and I was like, this something doesn't seem right with this, because John Kelly had been doing the telecasts for years for the Blues alongside Darren Pang. Mm-hmm. And then you see Darren Pang leave to go back to Chicago.
Yeah.
And now
he started TNT also, which I give him credit. He does a heck of a job.
Right. And to see that you are more or less kind of cutting ties, which, yes, this is, and from what Tom Stillman said, this was not solely a Blues decision. This was a kind of a joint decision between the Blues organization and FanDuel.
Yep.
To relieve John Kelly, which, I mean, I don't know the particulars of it all. I don't think anybody does, aside from the circle of people that between the Blues and FanDuel know.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, you're going to see a lot of Blues fans unhappy about this and everything. And good on John Kelly for taking it with the professionalism that he did. I feel like it sucks, because I like watching the games with John Kelly being there, and I feel like they're going to have a lot of questions now for how a lot of these things are going to be going about.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're going to have a simulcast with Curbs and Vitale between radio and television, but I wonder if they're going to be doing like the intermissions. And I know we kind of talked about this briefly before we came on, but I wonder if they're still going to have Alexa Dat and Scott.
I don't think Alexa's coming back either.
Oh, true. Because I did see something that she wasn't renewing her contract, or they weren't renewing her contract, and then same with the other guys from FanDuel, that they weren't going to be renewing Rivers' contract either.
Yep.
And so I was just like, what are they going to be doing for like the intermission shows? I wonder.
Probably won't have one. Yeah. No, I don't know. They'll probably have something. And you have to have something in the intermissions to talk about each period. There's no way they wouldn't do that. Mm-hmm. I know they're changing up they said they're changing up their pre and post game, I think, stuff. to be different. I don't know.
I wonder if that's something that like the guys from 101 would be doing, like BK and Alex Ferrario and the guys still with Chris and Joe, because they do a lot of like intermission stuff as well.
Yeah.
So I wonder if it's going to be a combo of them doing like the game commentary and then also the intermission talks to kind of cut down on budgets, so that way you're not going to have so many different people talking about the same game. I wonder if it's all going to be kind of the same people doing everything, more or less.
I'd imagine we're going to see Curb and Vitelli doing pre-game, in-game, intermission, and post-game.
Probably.
That just makes sense to me. If you're looking at cutting costs, that's the way you have to do it.
Yeah, I would imagine that's how they would probably end up doing it.
They're already doing that anyways during the broadcast, like during the radio broadcast anyways. They already have the pregame show. They have the little postgame show thing that they do, and they talk during the intermission. So you're just taking that from radio only to bring it
radio and television.
Yeah. It sucks to see it happen to a guy who's been with the Blues organization for 20 plus years.
Yeah.
But money's money, unfortunately. Money talks.
Yep. And speaking of money, we're going to be getting over to the salary cap.
Yeah. Let us know what you think about the broadcast changes, by the way. I know a lot of people don't like it.
Yeah. I'm not quite sure. I'm still kind of in shock of the decision, so I don't really have a hateful or happy take on it quite yet. I'm just kind of like I don't know what to say.
We'll see how it goes at the beginning of the year.
Yeah,
let's put it that way. Talk about some salary cap situation or salary cap in general. So the Blues, with the signings of Suter, Bjugstad, with the trade of Bolduc to Montreal for Mailloux, and the Nick Leddy to waivers thing, they cleared what seemed like a decent amount of cap space. Now, Nick Leddy's waive only would have been about $1 million if he wasn't claimed. Luckily enough for the Blues, he was claimed by the San Jose Sharks within 2 or 3 days. So that freed up quite a bit, $4 million there. But overall, projected cap hit for the 2025-2026 season, just per Puckpedia, which I know you have like a list of things and stuff there too. Projected cap hit's $94.875 million. The cap limit is $95 million for this coming season, meaning the remaining cap $150,000.
Yeah,
is what's left in the cap
as of right now. But I mean, that's
without any additional moves or long-term stuff.
And once you get to the point to where LTIR money comes off the board, you're going to be having Torey Krug's $6.5 million coming off of that.
Yeah.
94 $94 million. So I mean, you're going to be at the start of the season or towards the start of the season, the Blues are going to be relatively around 7-8ish million. So I mean, you're going to have a lot of room to kind of do something, and they could wait to do anything, which I think if you're smart for the Blues, you run into the season with the cap space that you have, which would be 7-8ish million. Mm-hmm. Then you wait to go to the deadline, see how your team is doing, depending on if you're first wild card, second wild card, even in the playoffs.
Yeah.
If you're in the playoffs, then I say go for the now. Use that 7-8 million that you have in cap space. Especially with the new mandate that they have now for that you can't take LTIR money into the playoffs anymore, which we pretty much already know that Torey Krug isn't going to be playing at all this season.
Suck it, Vegas.
And
fault.
so that's something that you can take that 7-8 million that you're going to be having going into the deadline potentially if they don't do any signings between now and then, that you can go out and get a winger, a defenseman, a trade for Jordan Kyrou if you really want to do that at that time frame. It just really depends. Or even trading away Justin Falk since he's going to be at, I think, the last year or something of his contract. Those are all things that you could potentially go and do at the deadline because you have such cap space, like a good amount of cap space at that time.
I don't know. I mean, you're Torey Krug doesn't sound like he's going to play again from the sounds of it. Like he's not. He's just. He's
not doing good with the recovery from what I've heard.
But I mean that long-term IR stuff, especially if you can't take it into the playoffs anymore, you have to do something during the season then, which is going to put you in a spot where you're going to have to move somebody else if you can't take that into the playoffs.
Yep.
So you're going to have to move a high-end, high-contract player like Justin Falk or Jordan Kyrou, or if you happen to find somebody who's willing to take on Torey Krug's contract at least, or some of Torey Krug's contract. But I don't know. I'm just going to be that.
Well, no, with that, from my understanding of it, is that
you wouldn't have that.
You wouldn't have to deal with that, like the LTIR money. Yeah. If he is still going to be injured going into the playoffs, you would still have like his money on the LTIR. It's just that you can't, like, if he were to say like what happened with Evander Kane, if you're Edmonton Oilers, he was out for, I think, pretty much the entire season, was out for game 1 of the first round, and then he came back in for game 2 of the first round. And then a big investigation came out with that whole thing, and I don't know if we've heard a verdict or if a verdict even came out yet for that, but those are the types of things that the NHL and Bettman are looking to more or less eliminate.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you've seen Vegas do it over the last several years. You saw Edmonton doing it last year. But, yeah, and, I mean, too, I know we didn't really get time to talk on it with the 5-hole. But the new collective bargaining agreement stuff, which is that a lot of that comes from the LTIR stuff.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's something that we're probably be talking about at some point or another. But yeah.
I don't know. And if you look at it in the Blues situation, at least the next couple of years, you already have quite a few contracts. You have Robert Thomas's, Jordan Kyrou's, Jordan Binnington's, Folks. You can throw Krugs in there, Parayko, Hofer. I mean, you're going to have Hofer and Binnington are probably the two bigger ones that are coming up. Unless I don't expect them. I don't see them trying to re-sign Justin Falk to a long, a big contract again after this one's done. I don't imagine them doing that. Maybe 2 years if they decide they want to keep Justin Falk around.
Yeah.
But I mean, I know you said you had a list of signings for the next couple of seasons.
Oh yeah, I mean, between this upcoming year and the next 2 to 3 years, I mean, you're looking at significant contracts. I mean, the only ones that you have going into 2030, 2031 is Pavel Buchnevich, Robert Thomas, Jordan Kyrou, and Colton Parayko.
Yeah.
Those are the only 4 players that you have pretty much going into 2030, 2031. Other than that, you've got to pretty much re-sign everybody back from, I mean, this year alone, you're going to have UFAs and RFAs between Matthew Joseph, Dylan Holloway, Tetsier, Bjugstad, Toropchenko, Sundqvist, Snuggerud, Walker, Justin Falk, Torey Krug, Philip Broberg, and the list just kind of keeps spiraling from there between Cam Fowler and Mailloux and Kyle Tucker. So, I mean, you're looking at a vast majority of your lineup that you're going to have to sign back if you're going to be doing that within the next year or two. So that's something that maybe even throughout the year that you decide to go through and re-sign some of these guys, especially to something of bigger contracts with the cap hit going back up another 9-10 million going into the next following year.
Because it goes up to what, 100 and something next year?
It goes to 113.
The salary cap jumps that much?
Yes.
95 to 113? Wow.
I could be wrong on that. I'm trying to look for it, but I thought I heard that, but I could be wrong. Oh, sorry. No. It's 104 for the 26-27 season, and then after that for the 26-27 season goes to 13.
Okay. That makes more sense. And I was like, damn, that's a big jump.
Yeah, no, it's not that big.
Go from 95 to 113. But I mean, that's a big jump in 2 years.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you right now, if you went through that list again. So what was the first one on your list? On that list?
You had first on the list. You had the I'm pulling it back up. Excuse me. Sorry. You had Braden Shen coming up in 28-29, which you probably won't deal with right away.
Let him go.
Pius Suter comes up in 27-28.
Let me see how his 2 years in St. Louis go first before I give him any money.
Jake Neighbors comes back up in 27-28.
Signing him to a 6-year deal. Same I gave Buchnevich.
You have, and these are the ones that are going to be coming up in this year, which is Matthew Joseph.
No.
Dylan Holloway, Alexander Tetier.
Nope, let go.
Bjugstad's here till 27-28, same as Tetier.
Yeah.
Alexei Toropchenko, Oscar Sonnquist both come up at the end of this year.
Okay. Toropchenko, 2-year deal. Sonnquist, let him walk. Hate to say that, but that's where I think that's going to end up.
Then you have, which Snuggerud, we all know, is probably going to be getting a deal after, because he comes up RFA status at the end of the 27-28 season.
Yeah. Whatever money you want, Jimmy.
Nathan Walker comes up at the end of this year.
He's going to be one that's going to be a salary cap fatality, unfortunately.
Probably. Then you going into your defense, you have Philip Broberg and Cam Fowler and Logan Mailloux coming up at the end of the season. Mailloux and Broberg are both RFAs, whereas Cam Fowler's just a UFA.
You think you gotta sign Broberg. I think you can't. You can't leave him just hanging there. Cam Fowler, I don't know how many more years he's going to play.
And if Matthew Kessel gets games, because I think that's how the UFA Group 6 stuff works. If you get certain amount of games, he goes to UFA Group 6 at the end of this year. If not, it'll be UFA status next year.
I wouldn't doubt if they let him test free agency with some of the guys that they have defensively also in, Springfield and what, because Lindstein's a forward, isn't he? Who am I thinking of defensively? They just drafted 2 years ago. I think it's gotten really dark outside if you can't tell by my lighting.
The Theo Lindstein is defense.
Yeah, that's good.
Jurasek was the guy that they picked up last year that you were talking about.
Yep. Which he had a pretty good camp from the sounds of it, or developmental camp. So I wouldn't doubt if I don't think he'll make the roster this year, but who knows?
No, I mean, they had all good upside about Theo Lindstein. Yeah. Another guy on the list, but I don't think he had as much upside was Otto Stenberg. I haven't heard much about him. Mm-hmm. But who's to say what could happen with that? Yeah. But I mean, you got Kessel, the other forward. I think that I heard of.
I think they move.
I'm sorry.
I think they try to move Matthew Kessel.
Yeah, more than likely, potentially. What was the other guy's name that I heard about that they had a lot of praise on? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Oh, Otto Stenberg is a forward. I'm sorry. I thought he was a defenseman for some reason. I can't find him, but Pekarsik, Pissart.
Oh, I know who you're talking. I know. Yeah.
Pekarsik, I think is how you say his name. I feel like they had a lot of good things and a lot of upside on him as well from development camp.
Yeah. Yeah. I think they'll have some interesting things to, you talk about a rebuild, a retool and whatnot. I think by that time, within 2 or 3 years, this whole Blues roster is going to be completely different than what you're looking at right now.
Oh, yeah. But I think you're going to be doing a massive overhaul in the next year to 2 to 3 years.
You're going to have a lot of really good young guys on the roster.
Mm-hmm. And they're going to have good veteran help. I mean, you're going to be looking at the defensive core having Cam Fowler, Colton Precoat, Justin or Philip Broberg. Wow, I am going all over the place. Sorry. But I mean, defensive wise, you're going to have a lot of veteran help. Offense, I feel like you're going to have the same. I mean, you have 4 guys that are locked up to the end of the decade.
Yeah.
I feel like that's going to be a big help as well.
Yeah. And I think you're going to have to sign Nathan. I don't think Nathan Walker will end up being a Blue for very long. I like how he plays. I love his little, rugged toughness that he just skates around and just rolls people over. I think that's fun.
Mm-hmm.
First off. But unfortunately, I don't think he's going to be a guy that the Blues keep. With the way the NHL is changing, I don't know if, that's something that the Blues will continue to keep looking at when they have guys that can, put up 20 goals on a fourth line within a couple of years.
Especially if you guys have players like Justin Carbonell and Dalibor Dvorsky that may be cracking the lineup in a winger role at the start of this season. So, I mean, it'll be weird to see how things iron out towards the beginning of the season, if not towards the later half of the season.
Yeah, but I think you have to sign Jimmy. You have to sign Jimmy Snuggerud to a long-term deal. Keep him in St. Louis as long as you can. Same with who was the other name? Was it Neighbor? It wasn't Neighbors. Neighbors already signed.
I think Holloway will be signed long-term. Because he's RFA status at the end of this year.
Yeah, you got to find some way to keep him for 4 or 5 more years.
Yeah, I feel like out of a lot of the people or a lot of the players that are coming up this year, I feel like Holloway, Broberg.
Did you say Neighbors too?
Neighbors is the following year.
Okay, so 27, 28. Okay. I still think you give him the same kind of money you gave Booch.
Potentially. I mean, with the cap going up and over the next 2 years, 3 years, I think you're going to have a lot of potential to sign some of these guys to decent deals and keeping them here. I mean, and who's to say some of them may take discounts like you saw with the Florida Panthers, and a lot of their core is signed to 2030, 2031, just like a lot of our core is. But I mean, these are some players that you may be able to sign to deals like that to see them playing here for the next 4, 5, 6-ish years.
Yeah. I think the potential is there. We'll see what happens.
I would agree.
We'll see what happens with it. You got anything else that you wanted to talk about?
I don't really think so. We covered everything that I pretty much had on my list that wanted to get covered. I thought we did a good job, and I don't have anything else wanted to throw out there.
Do you think they make any other moves before the season? I think the next month is going to be pretty quiet.
Yeah, and Doug Armstrong had even kind of quoted to that in the He had an interview, I think it was with NHL Network or somebody, that they're pretty much saying, like, this is going to be over his 21-ish years of general managing, this is probably going to be one of his easier summers. Like, easiest summers going into with being a GM and with having everybody sign the contracts already. I feel like you're going to be seeing at least through to the middle part of August when everybody kind of comes back into to get ready for training camp. I don't really think you see very many more moves from Armstrong to bolster this team any more than what it already is.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think it'll be a fun season coming up next couple of seasons as well.
For sure.
And we'll see what happens. Thanks for tuning in with us. If you happen to watch today's Blues Notes show, make sure to like, subscribe, do all the things that you do for everyone else. And we will see you on the next Blues Notes show here on STL Sports. My name's Brandon. That's Brandon. Thanks for watching. We'll see you later.
See ya.